Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Come on in and sit down and grab yourself a seat here in the house. We unfortunately got to start off this episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast with a bit of somber news. Unfortunately, today we have lost one of the greatest hardcore legends to ever grace the inside of a ring, and that is the one, the only, Mr. Terry Funk.
Yeah, definitely want to send our condolences to the Funk family for the loss of Terry today. You talk about him being a hardcore legend. I remember Terry back in the 80s in the WWF. I remember hearing about him being NWA champ, in the late 70s. I mean, hardcore was kind of what he turned to after his in-ring career had slowed down, kind of on the wind down. He went to the hardcore, completely reinvented himself and bought himself another, 20 years in the business?
Yeah, at least.
Obviously a huge influence on Mick Foley. I mean, we're just, hours out, maybe a couple hours out from hearing about it, and, based on Mick's post that, notified everybody that it happened. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that wouldn't be fans of wrestling had it not been for Mick Foley and Terry Funk's, hardcore matches that they had. That brought a lot of that ECW crowd into ECW, which grew into a movement. So,
yeah, and if you've never seen Terry Funk in ECW, my God, go look up some of that work. That's some of the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah, in my life. I mean, especially for stateside. I mean, him and Mick did a lot of the Japanese style stuff that we'd never seen here. They introduced it here, and I mean, like I said, they got a whole new set of eyes on wrestling as a whole. So we're thankful for his contributions, more specifically their contributions together, because they gave us a platform to talk about. So
absolutely. All right. So today we are giving a toast to Mr. Terry Funk.
All right.
We thank you, sir, for all of the memories that you gave us, and we hope that you rest, safely there in your sleep. In peace. All right. So now to the topic at hand. We can go on into our discussion for what we wanted to do on this podcast. And we want to talk about what is being billed as the greatest wrestling event of all time. Is that what we're hearing?
So as far as tickets sold, it has outsold every wrestling event in the, United States based wrestling event of all time. I mean, it's outsold WrestleMania 32 at over 80,000. It outsold WrestleMania 3 at over 79,000, I think it was. Now, those aren't the numbers WWE puts out as the full attendance in the building, but WWE also counts the staff, the photographers, the media, everybody that's physically in the building when they advertise that 93,173 and things like that. All that includes all of that. But as far as tickets sold, they're saying All In has sold more tickets than any event ever held for American wrestling. So, yeah, I guess that's what we're calling it. The biggest wrestling event of all time, American side.
So, obviously, we're talking about AEW All In that's getting ready to originate here this coming Sunday. We're recording this a little bit early, but this coming Sunday from Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
jolly old England.
That is a huge accomplishment for somebody to go in there and sell out Wembley, first of all. It's crazy.
I mean, so from what I heard, the WWE record for SummerSlam 92 is the previous record for indoor sports, or indoor wrestling over in England. So what was that, 92? So we're 31 years removed from that. And now a 4-year-old company has went in there and demolished that record. I mean, they obliterated it. So now, let me just say as a disclaimer for me, I feel like that's a sign of the times, though, just because, money in 2023 is a lot different than money was in 1992, for one. And for two, they weren't trying to set a record when they did that event in 1992. They're trying to set a record in the AEW now, and they did it. So, hey, kudos to them, though. They saw an opportunity, took full advantage of it, and they got a multi-million-dollar pay-per-view coming up here.
Absolutely. So, everybody keeps going, AEW is on the path to blow WWE out of the water, blah, 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 blah. But I don't
what?
I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to go there as we talk about this, because the way that I'm looking through it, and it may be rose colored glasses on my part, but the way that I'm looking at it is, what a hell of a time to be a fan.
So that's at the end of the day,
we're the ones that are winning.
There's your denominator right there. I mean, regardless of, WWE, I feel like when WrestleMania comes around, they're going to look at this and say, oh, well, we'll show them, and, we'll sell 200,000 for 2 nights, or some crazy nonsense that they'll do, whatever the case may be. But I mean, hey, that's how the Monday Night War started. You had a little bit of competition, a little bit of spark here, a little bit of spark there. Next thing you know, we had probably the 4 best years of wrestling in history.
Yep.
So, hey, if this one event can spark that, sign me up.
Let's do it.
Sign me right on up. So, put me down for 2.
Talking about the event, let's get into the event. Let's talk about, what's going to happen. We're going to start, though, with a little bit of disclaimer as we say this. As like we said, we're recording early. TK has already came out today, and this is Wednesday before Dynamite here. So he's already came out and said some of these matches may be changing. So if we call the wrong match or we pick the wrong person, whatever, hey, forgive us. We doing what we can.
Absolutely right. So we're commenting on what we know as of this moment. So in a couple hours at 8:00, then all this can be blown away. But as of right now, we're going on what we know. But before we go into that, let's just say, I mean, you got the quote unquote the biggest wrestling event of all time, and there's a lot of uncertainty 3 days out from that pay-per-view. That ain't good, right?
So on the low, what we talking about? This could be a shit show.
It has all the makings for it. So
we don't want to trash on this event. I mean, we don't want to come off as if like we throwing it in the dumps or whatever. But to be honest with you, if you're making changes this close to the event.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not even really Tony's fault. I mean,
it's not. It's
we
a
got the
combination
Cash Wheeler situation. He may or may not even be able to travel.
Yep.
So we don't know. That's up in the air. Apparently now Ray Phoenix definitely isn't able to travel.
No, some visa issues that he's got going on that we've heard. So there's a couple other things. I mean, obviously the card has been jacked anyway because of all the injuries.
Yeah, and I mean, upside though, they didn't sell 80,000 tickets based on the card, right?
No,
they sold it on the pay-per-view, the pay-per-view itself.
Which is
the fact that AEW is going to be in the house is what they sold it on. So the card really isn't contingent on the event.
Yep.
But I think the card is going to be contingent on the backlash of it. So
I think if
Monday morning, when everybody's going over what they feel that pay-per-view was like, with this jumbled up card that we have right now, I don't think it's going to make for a favorable review unless they are able to just knock it out of the park.
If people will stop just, for lack of a better term, shitting on the product and just enjoy the fact that we're getting a freaking 80,000 in attendant pay-per-view of a company that's less than 5 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. I mean, this is incredible, the fact that we're even getting this.
Exactly. So you're going to have to take it at face value. I mean, all in all, when you've got 80,000 people in a building cheering, for one, and I heard somebody else talk about on one of the other podcasts that, how Tony's using all this licensed music and things like that. If you get a jolly old England crowd over there singing some of the songs that they might get fired up for, because I feel like there's going to be some surprises, which
I think there's definitely going to be some surprises.
Yeah, as long as you keep that in your back pocket, then it really doesn't matter how the card changes, because if the right surprises are there, then you get the right pop. Everybody's going to forget about, we didn't get to see the FTR match. They'll show it eventually. I mean, there's All Out coming, next week?
Yep.
So it's not like they're not going to have a follow-up show to have some of these matches that they may be having issues with today. They'll get there, but unfortunately, this is going to be their biggest show. I don't know if they'll ever get to 80,000 again, in the near future. So this is it. You're rolling out all the horses on all the carts, and you're going to be, you got to put it all out there for a show. If it doesn't live up to the hype, that's not good.
I think what we're going to see, though, is to coin a term JR always says, is bowling shoe ugly?
Yeah.
But we got there and it happened.
Yeah. Hey, at the end of the day, I mean, that's the accomplishment.
Yep.
The accomplishment is the fact that they were able to sell that many tickets for an event that didn't really have a card.
Yeah.
They were brand name alone sold 80,000 strong tickets. That's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a damn good thing if you're Tony Khan, because you're looking at it like, hey, when you want to go to these advertisers and you want to go, you want to start generating money for your company, you're like, hey, our TV product may not be growing. It's not like we're getting, we don't have 80,000 new viewers every week on TV. But the fact of the matter is, when we rent out a building, we can damn near guarantee we're going to sell that thing out, and that's a lot of people you're getting your product in front of, and you're getting eyes on one way or the other.
And plus, it also makes a case for Tony moving forward too. When he throws something out there to Foxborough and say, hey, we want to run a show at Foxborough.
Yeah.
And they go, well, I don't know if you're big enough. Hey, we sold out Wembley.
Right. Yeah.
So,
we had 80,000. You got 80,000? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a good thing that this is happening.
Yeah. It'll definitely help them with their negotiations now, because they're not WWE. And a lot of times places say, well, yeah, if you're not WWE, we don't really want you, because, that'll harm our relationship with WWE. But now if you're showing that drawing power, like, hey, I'll get your building packed, we'll move merch, we'll do all these things. It's like, now all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe I am willing to do a little business with this company. So,
it kind of moves on down the line for all the other venues. It's like, next time they come to Charlotte area, I don't want to see them at Bojangles.
Yeah, no kidding. Right?
I want to see them at Spectrum.
I want to see them where there's air conditioning. How about that? So, Jesus, Lord.
All right, let's get into some of these matches. The first one we have to talk about, the 4-way women's match. So we're looking at
4-way women's match. I like how that sounds.
I feel like we've visited this road before with you and this type of a match type.
Probably just the match type. Yeah, not this particular match, but probably the match type. Because, there's a lot of round robins, 3-way dance. There's a lot of different match types that I've probably seen myself in a few times. All
right, so we got Sheeta, we got Toni Storm, we got Britt Baker, and we got Saraya.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's a lineup.
That's a lineup. Mm-hmm. So out of all of these, they've had stories entangled throughout the year. I don't know, how do I connect the dots between all 4 of them, though?
Well, they had to play that. They had to have a tournament to get in. So,
right.
I mean, they don't necessarily have to have that much of a story, because it's kind of like King of the Ring. You're just getting... a mesh up there, but unfortunately that may or may not be good. But you got Saraya in her hometown, so there's that. So.
Yeah, you're gonna have that pop definitely. Toni Storm, I also feel like Toni is coming into a character right now that's probably fit her the best that I've ever seen her do.
Yeah,
it's just the whole one flew over the cuckoo's nest type deal that she's got.
It took them a long time to get there, though. I mean, but it is suited for it, definitely.
Yeah, and then Sheeta, you got Sheeta looking like a badass samurai. I mean, she pulls that character off so well, and she's just got that warrior mentality.
Yep.
That it's really fun to watch her in there. And then you got
the doctor. I'll take this part. I'll take over from here, because then you got the doctor. The
Thugonomics doctor?
No, not that doctor.
Okay.
That doctor's retired. That doctor's he ain't in Hollywood now. Apparently he'll be on SmackDown next week. So he's set up for SmackDown on the 1st. So guess we know what John Cena's gonna do on the strike time. He's gonna make his money.
Yep.
But no, as far as the doctor, the dentist, not the crazy psychotic dentist, but the DMD herself, I feel like this is gonna be her time. Simply on the fact that they have the Thunder Rosa feud that's always been looming based on the All Access show. It's just been kind of sitting on the back burner for a while. I feel like having the doctor go ahead and win the title in Wembley, and then, maybe even over Saraya, if you put her over there, because that's Saraya's hometown. The hometown favorite never wins at home. That's just kind of a wrestling thing. But yeah, you put Britt over there, and then either at the pay-per-view or at Dynamite or even at All Out the next week, I feel like you start that Thunder Rosa program, and I mean, you could ride that on into the holiday season. There's a lot of meat on that bone, as they say.
Yeah, and I think, if I had to pick a winner. I'm going to go with your theory, and maybe Austin Theory.
Oh, okay.
But maybe she does win the belt. She's celebrating the ring, and then Thunder Rosa comes down, gives her that stare down, kind of, and it starts that program up.
Perfect way to start it.
I will tell you that would probably be the most interesting feud that I've seen in the women's division since they left that program.
Yep. Yeah. Kind of, pretty much. Because I mean, when her and Britt Baker had their original match, where Britt was bleeding all over the place, that kind of put the women's division on the map.
Yep.
And then then they put the title on Britt because I mean, the Rocket was. Well, I'm not going to say where the Rocket was, but they strapped the Rocket to her.
We know where you're thinking.
Yeah, they strapped the Rocket to her, and so they put the title on her. And then, Thunder came back and, it was still hot. But after that feud kind of culminated, everything culminated as far as the women's division. It all kind of came to a head, and it's been in a flux ever since.
Yeah. So, we wish everybody the best in that match. We think that's going to be a good one. Let's get on into the next one. CM Punk versus Samoa Joe.
So I like the lead-in for that. On Collision, where they had CM Punk come in as Los Conquistador number 4 or whatever that gimmick was that he came rolling in there
Did you hear what the actual meaning was behind that?
No.
Okay. So that was actually an homage to Edge.
Oh.
So the outfit that he wore was it was kind of in correlation with one of the outfits that Edge and Christian wore.
The Los Conquistadors.
Los Conquistadors. Yeah. Also, the Golden Vampire name was the name that a young Edge carried in the Brood. His nickname backstage was the Golden Vampire.
With the blonde hair and all that. Okay.
So that was a homage to Edge, which kudos to Punk for doing that. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, they're friends from the WWE. Yeah. They pretty much spent their young, formative years together. So it makes sense. As I think of it now, though, I don't know if I've ever seen Edge and CM Punk get in the ring and wrestle.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah,
seems like those two guys would have touched.
We got robbed of that.
Yeah, it seems like those guys should have touched at some point in time. All that time they spent in WWE together, but they were both kind of the opposite sides of the same coin because it was everybody against John Cena, and those were probably John Cena's two biggest, strongest opponents. So,
but as opponents go, Samoa Joe and CM Punk are not strangers.
No,
they have known each other a long time back.
They were kids. When
Ring of Honor days, independent scene. They go way back, and honestly, I'm glad to see them getting back into this feud. However, I do think too much time has passed.
Yeah, even when they had the match a couple of weeks ago, it was the very first time they had it in the tag team match. I remember we talked about it on here. The anticipation was there, the excitement was there. Then they went through commercial breaks through the whole match, and we had to watch it in that little ass screen on the corner. And I was like, ugh, you guys kind of killed this right here.
I hate when AEW does that.
I'd rather them just go to commercial.
And now WWE has started doing the same thing. I hate it.
Yeah, you and me both, but good Lord. Anyway, that's kind of my fear is, like you said, the feud, the story and all of that. I think that's past. I think that ship is long since sailed. But if those guys can go in there and put out a banger, I mean, if they get 80,000 people behind them and, the crowd's really into it, it'll look great on TV.
I will say this. I do not want to see Punk attempt that GTS again. That was, dude. Joe's pushing 300 pounds.
Yeah, he looked like a little car up there on his shoulders. Like he looked like a little Volkswagen Bug hanging out on Punk's shoulder.
Punk struggled to get him up there. He needs to, Anaconda Vice or something.
Yeah,
to make him tap.
It would definitely do him some good. I mean, he ain't Bianca Belair. He ain't picking him up like that no more. Punk's got a little age on him.
I think Joe's going to go over though. I really do.
Do you? You think Punk's going to lose on the grandest stage, the literal grandest stage of them all?
I think Joe's going to go over.
Holy hell. I can't go with you on that prediction. I feel like CM Punk had it written into his contract that he's going to pick and choose when he wants to lose. And I don't see him losing in front of the biggest crowd ever. I don't see that guy doing that.
For the sake of time, let's get on and move into one of the bigger matches on the cards that we know that it's a lock. And that is the Adam Cole versus MJF.
Yeah, we got to talk about that because I got a real interesting theory about that I want to get into, but I won't steer the ship right now. That's not my job. I'm more color.
But yeah, we got to get into this. So This is stemming from the partnership that Adam Cole and MJF had for the blind tag team eliminator tournament that they had going on. We've seen some great backstage vignettes from these two, off-camera shoots, hilarious stuff, even hilarious in the ring.
Yeah.
Trying to get over basic moves such as the double clothesline.
Yeah.
I mean, some good stuff. But, Frank, you see it turning ugly.
The key word you said there was turn.
Turn.
I do see a turn in that. I mean, so all you wrestling historians out there, all of you have been watching for 30 plus years like me, probably remember Royal Rumble 94 when Bret Hart and Owen Hart tagged against the Quebecers in the Royal Rumble for the tag team titles, and they lost. Well, Bret kind of got injured in that. His knee was, damaged, and Owen was, in the ring kind of really upset and bent out of shape after they lost, kicked Bret Hart's leg out from under him, and then Bret had to kind of limp into the Royal Rumble, which he co-won with Lex Luger, and then there was like a stare down with Owen Hart to end the event for Bret. And I know Tony Khan's been watching just as long as I have because he's a little bit younger than me, so I can't say longer, but he's been watching just as long as I have, so I know he knows that storyline. I feel like we're going to see that same thing. I feel like we're going to see. Here's the angle that I'm taking it though. I feel like we're going to see Adam Cole kick out, or maybe not kick out, whatever the case may be, how they get there. I feel like Adam Cole is going to do the heel turn on MJF, causing them to have like a double turn. I feel like MJF's going to come out of All In as the face. Adam Cole's going to come out of All In as the heel. It's classic wrestling. I mean, we've seen a few double turns in the past. They really got to be intricately done to come off without a hitch.
Crowd to buy in.
Exactly. To come off without a hitch, you really got to be, tight in there with it. But they're setting them up with the tag match on the pre-show that the fans, of course, are going to see. I feel like that's where the start of the turn is going to take place. And then in the one-on-one match, I feel like Adam Cole is going to feel free to go all out heel to win that title. And I do see Adam Cole coming out of that pay-per-view as champion on the strength of MJF's title run has really been ridiculous. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. I said I wasn't going to crap on the show. I'm not going to crap on the company, but I am going to crap on this part. The way AEW has been booking their heavyweight champion all throughout the time that we've been watching AEW hadn't been the best. We haven't had a strong heavyweight champion. I mean, on the other channel, you got Roman Reigns right now. That's a damn high goalpost to measure up against. But fact of the matter is, none of the AEW champions have been booked anywhere near the caliber of story that we're getting with Roman right now.
I think Punk had the strongest shot.
He definitely had the strongest shot, but injury took
himself over.
Yeah, injury took him out, and then I guess technically he is the champ now too. He's the real world's champ with the X title.
Nope.
Sorry,
sorry.
We don't really care.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't really. So that brings up a good point though. You said you see Samoa Joe going over, so Samoa Joe would then be the real world's champion because it's for the belt.
Samoa Joe would take that belt and throw it in the trash.
I'm all for that. Sounds like a plan to me.
That sounds like Joe, doesn't it?
Yeah, once you spray paint a belt, I mean, unless you're Hollywood Hogan, you ain't getting no spray paint the belt. Yeah, no.
So I don't know that I agree with you on Adam Cole winning. I think MJF is going to pull it off and win. I think they're going to do the double turn like you're saying, but I think MJF comes out of this the face. He comes out the winner because I do think that they're going to be a program where Punk is heel and MJF is face in order to maybe unify the titles. So I think that's where they're going to go with it.
And if they do, then yeah, I do see exactly what you're saying. I just don't think that's what they're going to do simply because I don't see Punk coming over into the whole Dynamite thing. I don't see Punk trying to be a full member of the roster. I think he kind of likes this I'm a collision guy thing that he had on his shirt.
He's a collider.
Yeah, I feel like he has found a little niche over in collision where he thinks he can kind of do his own thing. And, if he's the only world champion, then he kind of has to come on to every show. And I mean, I just don't. I kind of like this whole outsider thing, because it's not an official brand split, but it kind of unofficially is. And I don't mind it. I'm here for it. So I kind of hope they keep all that kind of on its side, because when I don't want to be involved with the drama, I don't have to watch Collision. I can just stay out of it. So I'm kind of hoping they stick with that. So in the vein of that thought, that's why I think the Adam Cole thing, because AEW so far has followed the old school everybody but WWE mentality of wrestling, where you have a heel champ and a face chaser, So if you're going to do the double turn, if you're going to go all in on if you're going to go all in on MJF being a face, I don't feel like they're going to have a face champion over there, sporting the belt for the next few months. I feel like they would look at it much better with Adam Cole being the hottest heel in the company. If he does this double turn and he does it successfully, he'd be the hottest heel in the company. So I feel like at that point, with Roddy Strong, and he could rebuild his little undisputed era, and, they could work on that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different ways they could go, but in all, he'd be the hottest heel they got. I feel like there would be no better time to put the belt on him in that scenario, and then have a freshly minted babyface, sympathetic babyface like MJF chasing him. But all that really hinges on if they pull off that double turn flawless.
Right.
If they screw the pooch, which they've done before, and then you do the same scenario I'm laying out, it's going to be worse than the MJF title reign you got now, because half the crowd will still be doing the boom, and they'll still be cheering Adam Cole, and then you got MJF trying to be a face, trying to chase him, and it's like, oh, now we're in a whole world of muck. So. Yep. But yeah, I feel like Adam Cole and MJF are strong enough characters that they can pull off that double turn. And if they're able to pull off that double turn, I feel like the title switch is just par for the course. It seems like wrestling 101 to me.
And if you guys are going to be in the crowd live for this event, just be prepared. That's probably going to be hour number 7 of this event when this match.
Oh, yeah, this is an all-day affair. And it's on England time, so it starts here at noon.
Yeah.
So that means Tony's he's really got until 10 o'clock at night before he has to shut it down. So, yeah, I wouldn't put it past him.
3 days.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to see a 10-hour event out there. You got to give 80,000 people their money's worth. So.
All right, so there are some other matches on the card. Some we just don't have time to get into.
Some we don't know what the hell they are.
Yeah, we don't know if FTR versus Young Bucks is actually going to happen.
Yeah, we really wanted to talk about that coming into this whole thing. We really wanted to get into that match, but apparently Cash Wheeler really wanted to get into some road rage.
He wanted to get arrested.
Yeah, so apparently we're not going to talk about that because we don't know if it's going to happen.
You got the Stadium Stampede. We don't know who the competitors are yet, and all those competitors are. All that we know for that match is going to be a hell of a good time.
Yeah, they're going to give the fans, it's going to be a circus out there. So.
Jericho Ospreay. I really don't want to crap on that match, but
no, I can't, because I don't see Ospreay having a bad match, and I don't think Chris Jericho would.
I just think Ospreay's going to have to carry him.
Yeah, or he's going to have to tone it down.
A lot.
And we've seen Kenny Omega tone it down to match Jericho's speed before, so it's not impossible. I'm just not an Ospreay follower enough to know if he can do it. So we're gonna learn today.
And you got the Bullet Club Gold against Kenny Omega and a couple other partners that I think that's pretty much a lock. But I wish we were getting Omega Ospreay 3. That's all I'm.
Yeah, that would have been good. But
I think Wrestle Kingdom's got that locked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I get it on the fact that they let AEW run that match already, so I don't think they're gonna let AEW just have the full rights to it.
Yeah,
you got to have some give and take in there. So unfortunately, we're on the takey end of that.
So with that, everybody, we thank you for listening to today's episode. Go out there and feel free to drop us a line on the social media platforms. Enjoy the event. Don't crap on it because you're a WWE fan. Give it a chance. Enjoy the
just
event.
have fun with the wrestling.
Have fun with it. And with that, everybody, we bid you adieu.
Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.